There finally came the promised day, the day when I had to leave all the things I loved behind, to go somewhere far away from my home and family. I was then where it was so different from my past life. Letters and words were no longer lifeless items for me. Following particular rhymes and rhythms, they were alive, and this was my first love.
Iqbal, as it seems to me, went through two periods in his life, a wisdom period and a love period. The first is also Iqbal's search period, when he carries out various researches in all fields of science, whether in Iran or other places such as the East or the West. At this time, Iqbal is influenced by philosophy, something which he studies and tries to fully understand.
I was always wending my way during my youth. This type of move I considered was the purest way of staying. I knew I had to be fully dissolved in the forest of letters and words to be able to experience the flow of poetry. I understood that this type of flowing into thoughts and poems is not dissolution, but experience. Words and concepts came to my mind, each sitting in its own place. Relentlessly, I was proceeding, and at the same time, I felt as if something was boiling inside me. I saw myself in my poetic imagination, riding on a wave of thought and love. I was revolving around my childhood dreams to reach myself again.
اقبال زمانی که در شبه قاره بود
During the time Iqbal was still in the subcontinent, and when he had not yet left for the West, he was naturally well acquainted with Western philosophy, had deeply studied Hinduism and Islamic thoughts.
آرا و اندیشه‌های برآمده از متفکران اسلامی هم داشت.
Abundant traces of Islamic thinkers and mystics can be seen in Allama's life. Naturally, such signs would occupy Allama's thoughts, so he added more and more to his knowledge, studying the works of such thinkers. The most outstanding of them was Ali Hujviri Ghaznavi, who lived in the 11th century. He was from Ghazne, east of Khorasan. He made many trips as Sufi great men did. For 40 years he kept traveling. Hujviri built a mosque and a monastery in Lahore and tried to train his apprentices and devotees. As Islamic history tells us, Gnostics and Sufis played a big role in inviting people to Islam and promoting the religion there. Among those men, a noted one is Hujviri. Knowing this, Iqbal had an analytical look on the thoughts of Sufism.
At that time, Iqbal was quite familiar with Indian mysticism, and the traces of that school of thought can be found in his poems, though other traces of other ways of thinking can also be found in Iqbal's poems. Reflection of the unity of existence can be seen in Iqbal's poems as well. Iqbal says, though the nature has a taste, you too can do whatever it could not do. All actions of the nature have been food for humans' thought, so he may be able to attain perfection.
Iqbal's thoughts are based, as Ali Hujviri's were, on Islamic thoughts. And because Islam lays special stress on social aspects of life, his Gnosticism, too, is socialistic. This trend of his thoughts makes it apt to be challenged by everyone who tries to leave people suffering from weakness and degeneration. It is a must to every Muslim to diligently seek knowledge and science. He shall be searching forever for knowledge, even if he is forced to go into exile.
He studied in depth our religion, and with such deep knowledge, he left for the West.
There was no ending to the stories of my restlessness and abandoning similar places. I was 28 when, recommended by my teacher, Sir Thomas Arnold, I left for Europe to continue my studies. Having a master's degree in philosophy, I had taught at the Oriental College, but going to England and starting study at Cambridge University for a doctorate in philosophy changed everything. Studying at Cambridge secured me opportunities to know better and more about Western philosophers. At the same time, I enrolled at the Faculty of Law to be able to get permission to act as attorney. The rest had no meaning to me. For that very year, I traveled to Hamburg, Germany to do more research and finish my doctoral dissertation. For a whole year, I worked so hard to get fully familiar with philosophical foundations and to get my doctoral thesis finished. At that time, I made much of well-known philosophy teachers such as the famous professor of philosophy, MacNicrad, and the famous Orientalist, Reynold Eileen Nicholson.
در هایدلبرگ مطالعاتش رو علاوه بر تمریناتی که
He continued his university studies in Heidelberg, Germany, and became familiar with the thoughts and ideas of such philosophers as Nietzsche, Fichte, Schopenhauer, and the like. There were similarities between his thoughts and the thoughts of those learned men.
Iqbal continues to say that he was changing in thinking those days. Those living in the East, a place ruled by the English Empire, along with Iqbal, were living a sad and disappointed life.
Iqbal was quite helpless. He nurtured no wish within his heart, and he had become motionless. At this time, Iqbal says to his nation, "Wisdom cannot help criticism. Wisdom is the criterion. It is continuously changing shape. Wisdom cannot help criticism. You, but, shall base your action upon love."
اما اون چه که بیشتر در خور توجه هست این که
Interestingly enough, Iqbal was influenced by Western philosophers. He adopted their thoughts and opinions.
نپذیرفت. ممکنه از اونها ایده‌ای گرفته باشه.
He received ideas from them, but mixed them with his own to create an independent thought system and called it own philosophy.
وجود آورد که نام اون فلسفه خودی هست.